Hey guys, what's up? My name is Bharat, you're watching iGyaan, and today we're checking out the new Poco F4. Now the Poco F1 was one of the most interesting products at the time it was launched. It was a real disruptor and it caused a big market stir, and it also activated this mid-range market which had been dying down for a while. The Poco F1 had some serious specifications and interesting build quality, along with a powerful display as well as a processor on the inside that sort of made it popular. Also, with the mobile gaming boom happening at the time, it also gave that phone a big push. Now, many years later, the Poco F4 is here, and it is considered a successor to that series of devices, but it has taken a big departure from the original Poco F1, and here we are with the Poco F4. Now this color is called the Nebula Green, and if you look at the design of the phone, you'll be reminded of a Redmi K40S, which was not launched in India, but it is a very similar looking device. There are some differences in the specifications and we'll run through those in this video. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the like button so that the YouTube gods can recommend this video to more people. Now, let's quickly start off with the build quality and design. The phone is basically a slab of glass on both sides. So you do have Gorilla Glass 5 on the front of the phone. And like I said, this color is called the Nebula Green, but it's also available in a black. And the overall phone is actually quite slim at 7.7 millimeters as far as the thickness is concerned. You do have a little bit more at the camera bump. Your buttons are mostly on the right. So you have the power button, which also doubles up as a fingerprint scanner, which also opens the phone quite quickly. And then you do have your volume buttons just above that. On the top, you do have an infrared blaster, a secondary speakerphone, along with a noise cancelling microphone that is placed on the top of the device. On the bottom, you have the SIM tray. Now, this is a dual SIM tray, no micro SD card expansion this time around. You'll see the USB Type-C port, and you'll see the speakerphone along with the microphone holes at the bottom of the device. Now, on the back, you will see a bump for the cameras. They're laid out in a triangle pattern. We'll talk a little bit more about the cameras, but the primary camera is a 64 megapixel camera. On the back, there is no protection for the phone. There is this weird nano texture on the glass that, instead of making it more grippy, actually makes it a little more slippery. You'll see the Poco and the 5G branding on the bottom over here. And overall, it's a smart looking device. It's a little squared off, but you do have rounded edges. So it's a comfortable phone to hold. The frame is made out of plastic. So if you're expecting it to be robust, as far as the build quality is concerned, you'll have to keep the screen protector on, which by the way is pre-installed from the factory. And you also do have an IP53 rating, so not the most water resistant device that you will find. So basic splashes, rain and all should be fine, but you want to keep this away from water as much as you can. In the box, they also include a clear cover. And the company has clearly said that right now they're not working on accessories, but in the future, possibly they will work on accessories. So by the company, I mean the Poco part, not the other brands that sort of own Poco. So they are working on accessories, but you do get a clear case inside the box. And I'm sure third-party accessories will be available, since this is basically the same shape and size as the K40S. So on the front, you do have a 6.67-inch E4 AMOLED display. Now, this is a 2400 by 1080 pixel display, which makes it a 20:9 aspect ratio. And this display also has a 120 Hz of refresh rate, along with a 360 Hz of touch polling rate. And you do have a considerable amount of brightness as well, with a 1300 nits of peak brightness on this display, bringing it up close to some flagships as far as the display brightness is concerned. The display looks good, it has good colors, and it is fairly accurate as far as color reproduction is concerned. And you do have deep levels of black, which is with any AMOLED display, and the viewing angles are nice. With the good brightness, you'll have no issues using this phone indoors or outdoors. And overall, the display is pleasing. So it does have a variable refresh rate display that goes from 30, 60, or directly at 120. And unlike other devices which offer up to a 1 Hz of lowering down of the refresh rate, this doesn't do that. So if you keep your always on display on, then you'll see that battery life consumption is quite extensive. This display is great for capturing video or photographs. So you get a really clear, good contrast image representation when you're capturing those images. And then this display is also great for watching content, because this is Dolby Vision rated and HDR10 plus certified. This is also got MEMC technology that is usually used in the television industry It sort of adds a few frames in the middle to motion smooth the video that you're watching. So it will bump up the refresh rate of videos to match either 30, 60 or 120 hertz of refresh rate depending on what format of video you're watching. This display also covers 100% of the DCI P3 color gamut. So if you tune it, if you manage to tune this display as per your requirement, this has a very color accurate screen. So as far as the speakers are concerned, they are dual stereo speakers and they are fairly loud. They do have Dolby Atmos certification and the phone does support high-res audio. So if you're using wired headphones or even wireless headphones, this is certified for high-res audio as well. And then you do have some audio equalization capabilities built in to the user interface as well. Now, as far as the operating system is concerned, you've got the Poco Launcher 4, which is based on MIUI 13, which is based on Android 12. So you get all of that out of the box here, and you do get some of those nasty preloaded applications. The good thing is that you can remove most of them from the Get Apps application, but I'm one of those people who wants to remove the Get Apps application and I can't do that. There are also some other applications like the emoji keyboard that are pre-installed that I want to remove, but I cannot. However, you can go into the keyboard settings and set Gboard as the default and turn off the emoji keyboard. But those things are still on this device and are not removable, and that still bothers me a little bit. I think a little more flexibility is required at this time, but it is not available. You do have, however, the option of restricting data usage for certain applications. Like for example, if you do use the emoji keyboard, you can turn off data access for both Wi-Fi as well as cellular, so it will not be able to connect to data or pass any information from your keyboard to their servers whatsoever. So that feature is sort of built in, but I prefer to turn this keyboard off anyway. So this phone also does have 10 5G bands, which is one of the largest numbers for 5G bands in this price category. And if you're buying a phone that is 5G ready, this one definitely is that. And like I said, you do have your dual SIM capability, but no micro SD card expansion. The phone also does have Wi-Fi 6, and you do get NFC in this phone. And then you also do get a Navic geolocation as well as capability. So that is built into the device as well. So for geolocating, if you're using maps, etc., this will work great for that as well. Now, unlike the Poco F1, the Poco F4 does not feature the most flagship chip available, which is the Snapdragon series Gen 1 or the Gen 1 Plus or the Plus Gen 1, whatever it's called. But this time, this has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 870 chip in the box, which is a fairly powerful chip for, again, this price category, but it is not what the Poco F1 was capable of. This is a 7nm process based chip, and you do get an octa-core CPU along with the Adreno 650 GPU, and you do have the X55 5G modem, like I mentioned, with 10 bands of connectivity for 5G. As far as the RAM is concerned, the phone is available in 3 options: the 6GB RAM with 128GB of storage, 8GB RAM with 128GB of storage, and a 12GB RAM variant with up to 256GB of storage. And you also do get 3GB of virtual RAM, which also depends on the variant. The RAM is LPDDR5 and the storage is UFS 3.1. So you're getting those primary functions, which are RAM and storage, at the faster aspect. As far as performance is concerned from this device, we felt that this phone performs really well. And as far as gaming is concerned, you do get all your graphic ranges for most high, heavy games, as well as the phone performs well as far as gameplay is concerned. There is no jitter or lag, and the phone doesn't heat up even despite playing games for extended periods of time. And the reason the phone doesn't heat up is because it does have a massive vapor chamber in there, and then it also does have 7 layers of graphite sheets, so they do keep the device cool considerably, and they do dissipate the heat from the back of the phone. So while it might end up getting warm after some period of time, but it's actually dissipating the heat from the back of the phone. Benchmark scores are considerably less if in comparison to a Snapdragon Series 8 Gen 1. But then this is not a Snapdragon Series 8 Gen 1. So as far as an 870 is concerned, this is the kind of performance you can expect from it. But for everyday use, for jumping between applications, whether you're gaming whether you're capturing video or any of those things, this phone does not feel like it's slowing down or is inadequate as far as the processor is concerned. So as far as the cameras are concerned, you do get a 64 megapixel main camera. This is an f1.8 aperture equipped camera with optical image stabilization. So you do have a physical optical image stabilization built into this camera. Again, a really good feature to have in this device. And then you do have an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera as well, something that people use. But then the third camera is really like a peeve for me because it is a 2 megapixel macro camera that I feel is completely pointless, but it is there because people apparently like it. So you do get a 2 megapixel macro camera. You're primarily going to be using the 64 megapixel camera, and it does a good job of optical image stabilization. And it does capture 4K video at 60 frames per second, and that video looks really good. You can also capture slow-mo, and that looks amazing as well. We'll have some samples on the video right now, so you'll be seeing how crisp the video looks on this device. Now, as far as the images are concerned, the camera does have a whole host of shooting modes as well as video modes that are built in, some video effects built in as well. These look great on the device. As far as images are concerned, you do have, again, a whole host of filters, but images look really sharp. Portrait images also look great. Color reproduction from the phone is really good, and the camera does manage to capture those colors really well. And it doesn't overprocess the images if you turn all these effects and things off. So you do get a good balance. You also do have a pro mode built in along with several other modes that can be downloaded and used with the device. So if you're somebody who enjoys photography a lot, this phone will satisfy your photography needs. As far as the battery is concerned, you do have a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, and it supports 67 watts of fast charging and claimed 50% of charge in around 11 minutes. This phone charges really fast, and 67 watts is really enough for a lot of people. It's a pity it doesn't support 120 watts like some other Xiaomi devices. But I guess they've kept that for slightly more expensive devices, whereas this is a mid-ranger phone. So definitely a really good feature to have, especially if you're somebody who's going to be gaming for extended periods of time, or just somebody who's a power user. Getting fast charging is definitely a feature that is good. And as far as the battery is concerned, the 4,500 milliamp hour battery will last you a long time. I would recommend that you turn off the always-on display feature, because that does consume a considerable amount of battery. But leaving the phone overnight just on its own on standby consumes about 30% battery. So that could be a software thing, or that could just be a always on display thing. So that is something that you should be aware of. But otherwise, the battery will last you a full day of use. If you charge it in the morning, you should be able to get through the full day with about 4 to 5 hours of screen on time on a constant with heavy usage. So we have no complaints as far as the battery life is concerned if you charge your phone in the morning and use it all the way to the end of the day. So that was our review of the Poco F4. What are your thoughts on the phone, and would you be buying one? Is the question. Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already a part of Team iGyaan. This has been Bharat. I will see you guys in the next one.